When I taught elementary art, I found that at the end of the school year I had millions and billions of bits and pieces of crayons, because for a lot of my kids, breaking the crayons accidentally on purpose was kind of fun to do. And I also found that a lot of my students were unable to hold a crayon. Again, physical ability is important. So drawing with a crayon, you have to have a push, a pull. You're going to have to hold it upright. A lot of physical ability goes into holding a crayon. Some of the crayons, again, because you have to push so hard to get a mark, oops, then they break. And for some of my kids with autism, again, breaking the crayon is much more fun than drawing with it. Unwrapping it is fun as well. If you have a student in a wheelchair, you're going to find that the crayons are going to run right off and fall usually in the lap of the student, depending on the incline. Using a crayon that has a flattened edge is going to allow the crayon to stay on a work surface. It's not going to roll off. Again, students are able to break these. It may be, again, cumbersome to draw with. It may not work as well as you want it to do with a student. But again, this is going to work a little bit better for an incline. I find that, I want to use these crayons for this student, these crayons for this student, and maybe we'll use a block crayon for another student. And in purchasing these block crayons, they're very expensive, and not always are they the right colors for a certain project that I want to use. So maybe this works good for this project because maybe I'm going to do some landscape with the kids, but what am I going to do when it comes to sky? I have no sky colors. Well, I found that using all these bits and pieces of crayons, we could melt them down, and many of you know how to make muffin tin crayons. And if you don't, again, go to the website. It will show you, and it will talk you through step by step on how to make muffin tin crayons. Taking bits and pieces of crayons and melting them within a muffin tin, you can create your own crayons. All of my students are able to use these. Now these are used with the Crayola construction paper crayons, and the nice thing about these is they will draw on any colored paper, even the black papers. So again, you could do texture rubbings, you could color on colored paper. You could choose to use crayons either in the warm colors, the warm tones, or the cool tones. If you're teaching color theory, you can melt the crayons in that version as well. And again, really nice way to recycle crayons, but again, all of your students should be able to use these. They work awesome for texture rubbing. Design and paint brushes can be an obstacle for some of our students as well, and we've come up with some universally designed paint brushes so you don't have to have fine motor skills to hold a paintbrush anymore, and all of my students can do this no matter what their ability is. One of the paint brushes we use, I call it a paint squisher, and it's plexiglass. It has notches cut out of the sides. Each one's a little bit different. Sometimes I'll leave a couple sides plain, and actually this was plexiglass given to me. It was broken, nobody could use it. Cut it on a bandsaw, use a Dremel to actually indent some of the designs within. It can be used as paste paper tools in redesigning your paint and paper just by motoring it through or pushing it through. And no matter what the ability is, the designs turn out gorgeous. Because of the clear plexiglass, when kids squish their paint, they can see the color mixing and blending. So you can actually teach some color theory with them as well. Again, some of the sides are plain, some of them have some beautiful patterns in them.
I can read it like in the
Oh, you know to my friend when I got your cell phone number? Okay. Your Maddie Soares said you guys were using the song. I did that to her and she was really sad. Yeah.
The other type of paintbrush that we love to use here, and we call it in my classroom a funky brush. And a funky brush, you're going to find the directions on how to make this on the website. So you want to check out the website and you can print it off. The funky brush is made with nothing more than foam, and you could find the foam. This foam came from an automotive store. You could find the foam in a kitchen liner department. Any type of foam is going to work, and sometimes even recycling things from packaging materials that you might have. Obviously this is just nothing more than the top of a spray can paint. So we're going to use this to actually hold the brush together. For people with physical limitations, holding a brush upright and painting and possibly even loading it becomes pretty fatiguing. If we have a paintbrush that stands up for us and all we have to do is push it through, no matter what the ability or how I hold things, I'm going to get some really nice designs. Those students that can twist and turn and motor it through even more are going to get some cool designs as well. Even funky brushes without the cap are going to stand up nicely. And on the website you're going to see that if you add a stick to it, you can even create more interesting designs with your paintbrushes.
Why did you cut that?